Hey everybody, I wanted to get a video out on this as soon as I could. The $1.7 trillion spending bill has been signed, and they snuck in the Secure Act 2.0 into it. And so there's a few changes that we all need to know about when it comes to the kind of retirement planning, wealth management world. And some of them are actually pretty significant. So let's review some of the basics and see what they did. First thing was the catch-up provisions. You know, that extra $1,000 that you can put into an IRA, and they've got the $5,000 or $6,000 that you can do in your 401k. Well, they're going to start indexing that to inflation, so it's not arbitrary. It's not every couple of years we're going to raise it by 500. They're indexing it to inflation starting this year. Okay. That's a little minor tweak. So I'm going to have to look it up constantly because it's going to be some oddball dollar amount nowadays. And it's going to be hard to keep that in my brain. Then 401k adjustments, a bunch of changes in the 401k. So cool thing is for 60, 61, 62, and 63-year-olds, 60 through 63-year-olds, there's going to be an additional catch-up provision. It's starting at a total of 10,000. So it's not 10,000 plus the other catch-up provision. It is 10,000 in total, or 50% more than the regular catch-up provision. A bunch of gobbledygook. All you need to know is that starting in 2025, 60 through 63-year-olds are going to be allowed to push even more into their 401ks. Okay. Anyone with compensation over $145,000 is going to be required, I don't think this is a word, to Rothify their catch-up contributions. Not the whole thing, just the catch-up contributions. Once you're over 50, you're allowed to add more to your IRA and 401k and all that stuff. So in the 401k, they're going to force you to put that into Roth 401k. Eliminates required minimum distributions on Roth 401ks. Kind of cool. That's always been confusing for a lot of people. If you left your Roth 401k alone and you reached required minimum distribution age, you were going to be forced to make withdrawals out of that Roth 401k, really forcing your hand to roll that stuff over, which is usually a good idea anyways. Required auto enrollment in 401k plans. So all new employees going forward are going to be auto enrolled with a mandatory withdrawal out of the paycheck into the 401k program. It will allow employer contributions for student loan payments. Some fun little things that employers can do to add benefits for the younger employees is really what that is. Gives employees $1,000 penalty-free access for emergencies. So the lower wage earners are always afraid to put money into the 401k because they need it, in their bank account for emergencies. Well, this starts that path of alleviating that stress. There's some repayment provisions and things like that, but there won't be the 10% penalty on it. And allow qualified plans to add a provision for employees to designate employer contributions as Roth. So a lot of people didn't realize this, but if you were contributing to Roth, the employer contributions would go to traditional 401k pre-tax. So the employers would get the tax benefits. Well, basically, they made some rearrangements in that system and allowing those Roth contributions, the matching from the employer to get some benefits as well. And so now they're going to be allowing the employer to be putting into the Roth side. That's going to power things up quite a bit. All right, so that was the 401k system. 529s. They snuck this in. It's really hard to find, but it's in there as far as I can tell. I've seen it reported in several places to confirm because reading the actual bill was not fun. So 529s, you can now move to Roth, but they put a ton of restrictions on this. So right at face value, it's like, huh, what? That's awesome. There's so many things you can do with this. So if you put money into a 529 and your kid never goes to college or your grandchild never goes to college, what are you supposed to do with it? Well, you got to pay the penalty and get it out of there. Or, you have one chance to change the beneficiary, but what if you don't have anybody to change it to? Or what if the person you changed it to didn't need the money? So there's money left over in a 529 and you need to know how to get it out without the 10% penalty. Well, there is a bit of a solution. The restrictions make this a little difficult to use, and it has to be genuinely that story I just laid out, right? So it's a $35,000 lifetime maximum on these transfers, and that's per Social Security number. So it's actually the child who is supposed to benefit from this, and it has to be the child's Roth account. So you don't get to take it back yourself. You're giving it to the child. So rollovers are subject to the annual Roth IRA contribution limit. Contribution limit. So that means they have to meet income restrictions. They have to meet dollar amount restrictions. In 2023, that's $6,500 is the most that they can move to Roth. So it'll have to happen over a period of time if you have $35,000 left in that 529. The rollover can only be made into the beneficiary's Roth IRA, not that of the account owner. So it has to be the kid's Roth account. 529 must have been open for 15 years. That, anybody trying to scam the system and move a bunch of money into Roth no, it's not happening. You got to have the money in this 529 at least 15 years. Any deposits within the 15-year period will be excluded until they hit the 15-year. And account holders can't roll over contributions. Well, that's what I just said. So it's important to understand they put a lot of restrictions on this. Now, there's one last big, huge change that happened this year. All right. So for those of you that have required minimum distributions or going to have them soon, we've changed the date again. It used to be 70.5 was your first required minimum distribution. Then we just changed it to 72. And now 2023, you have to be 73 years old before you have to start required minimum distributions. So if you are 72 this year, turning 72 this year, you do not have to take your first required minimum distribution until next year. And in 2033, they're jumping it up to 75. So if you are 72 now, we don't have to worry about it till later. And once we reach 2033, we jump it all the way to 75. Okay, so we're delaying the required minimum distribution beginning date. All right. Now, the IRS has not readjusted their table yet. I assume they're going to do what they did when they moved it to 72, but we don't know when they will do it. So as of right now, we're using the old required minimum distribution table at 73 and using that divisor. So everybody know 73 is the new required beginning date for required minimum distributions. We haven't gone cross-eyed yet, hopefully. All right. Well, that's what I found that was most unique and pertinent to our situations in the Secure Act. Take a look at the comments below and section below. There may be more information as we get it. We'll put a link in there and add it to the mix as well. And if you need help with any of this, trying to plan out required distributions or have questions on the 401k or any of that stuff, whether you should do Roth or not is always a great question because that's very individualized. Let us know if we can help out. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We're live via Zoom all the time. I make videos, I talk to people all the time, and teach classes, and that's what I get to do. So let me know if I can help out. I'm always happy to jump on a call with you. Thanks again. See you next week.